Yes, my name is Ted Bagley. I am the CEO and president of TBJ Consulting here in Simi Valley, California. I am also the writer of the book, My Personal War Within, and it's a pleasure being here today. Equality and freedom are two words that, as I call it, shifting sands. Because at certain points in my life, I feel like I've had both, and at other points in my life, I have not had them. As I look at the word freedom, it tells me that I should be able to talk, say, go, live any place I want, and society has not made that possible. I live in a nice home now. I have a nice life right now, but there are still places in this country that I can't go and feel safe. So am I totally free? No, I can't say that anyone of my culture is totally free. We're always seeking that elusive freedom, as they call it. If we truly had freedom, I think back to one of my fraternity brothers, Colin Kaepernick, who kneeled during a game to protest police brutality, and he lost his career over that. And all he wanted to do was use his platform to announce to the world that there was terrible things happening on the streets of our country as it relates to how police treat people of color. My parents were not educated people, but they gave me some very sound advice. One thing I always remember my father saying is, hard work can overcome the flaws of not having certain characteristics or certain talent. So he always told me to work hard, and good things will result from that. The other thing, and I like to add this, that he said was, always shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you land among the stars. That's an old saying, and that is so true, because he wanted us to reach higher goals. He wanted us to aspire for higher things, and I thought that was very, very sound advice. I was 5 or 6 years old, and I remember going to this white church for the first time. My sister was a member of SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and she took me particularly with us, and other kids went with them. We were going to go to a white church for the first time downtown Birmingham, and we didn't want any trouble. We just wanted to integrate the churches, show them that we're there to worship and not to start trouble, and it was mostly women and kids. And when we got to the church, we were met by a throng of parishioners, all white, who said some things that I have never, cursing, calling us names and everything else, told us how much we weren't welcome. And I always thought that God was the God of everyone, whether you're white, black, yellow, brown. God is everyone's God. So why they wouldn't let us come in was just an enigma to me. And from that point, that was the first time I ever felt discriminated against at my young age. And I just didn't understand why they wouldn't let us worship with them. What compelled me to write this autobiography was my life itself. What I would do is, as I travel across the country in my jobs, I would, instead of spending time socializing, I would take pen to paper and just write down notes, a diary as such. And over a period of time, that diary became a story. And I know there's a lot of people who have similar backgrounds as I. There's a lot of people who have had similar experiences. And I thought maybe if I put my story together, it would awaken some of the things in other people, things that they can identify with. And it shows how a young, barefoot black kid from Birmingham, Alabama, who actually grew up with nothing, can ascend to one of the highest positions in corporate America. I was a senior vice president of human resources at Amgen Pharmaceuticals. So no matter how you start, that doesn't mean that you can't finish strong. And that's why I feel the way I do about my career, about writing this book, and why it was important that I let the world know about my life, so that they can identify with a lot of the things that had happened to me. I think the favorite moment would be just talking to people who gave me input into my life's work, communicating with them, getting their opinions, getting their ideas, talking to people who sort of lived a part of this book with me. I think that was the fun part. Writing has never been what I considered my strong points. I never sought to be this famous writer. I don't consider myself a great writer, but I think I love it. I love it because it causes you to interact with others who have similar experiences, and it afforded me the right to put not only my experiences in the book, but also theirs. I'm going to tell you, it was one of the moment that I received my book, it was almost like one of the most special times in my life, other than my kids being born and my marriage. Because I've always wanted to publish a book. I didn't envision selling a bunch of books and becoming rich off of stuff. I just wanted to publish my first book. And when I got that book in my hand, it was really, it's hard for me to explain the feelings that I got from having this piece of work that I did, something that I created, and other people were willing to take it, like the publishers, they were willing to take this and make it out of a book. And that was probably the most memorable feelings that I've had about publishing these books. I've never had that feeling again. Even with my other books, it was that first and second book that really piqued my interest in becoming a writer. I decided to self-publish because I had read up on publishing, and I knew how expensive it was to go through large publishing houses like Random House or something like that. So I said, let me try first by self-publishing. And I did a lot of research on self-publishing, and I was impressed with what I saw. Not only could you still have someone help you with publishing your book and binding it and those type things, but you could also have people help you market the book and do all the things you need to do to sell your work. So I didn't have the money initially to put $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in publishing a book. So I said, I'll self-publish and I'll see how that works. And if that works well, I'll try another one. And if that works, then maybe I'll go to a Random House, one of the larger publishing companies. But the primary reason was I just didn't think I had the wherewithal, the funding and all of that to publish through one of the large publishing houses. My experience in publishing and writing my book through Writers Branding has been very rewarding. I started with another company and I wasn't real happy with the work that the other company had done for me. So I decided to try Writers Branding. And there's a young man there named Kevin who I really loved working with. He just stood by me every step of the way. Whenever I needed to talk with him, he was there. And he helped me through the process. He helped me to get my book edited correctly. And I was just so pleased with their service, the quality of their service, the suggestions that they had in marketing my book, and actually rewriting my book as such from its original writing. So, and I was pleased with Writers Branding and just their approach to helping young writers get started. My message to other publishers or writers that have plans to publish a book like I did is, first of all, have plenty of patience. One of the issues that I ran into was I was so impatient to get that first book published that I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't have it edited properly, had it published with a lot of errors, had to go back and have it republished, which cost a lot of money. So I suggest, first of all, be patient, take your time, have other people read your work over and over again, have more than one person read your work, get you a very dependable editor, have that person edit the book more than once before you send it in as a final product. Because what you are doing is you're affecting your personal brand. What you put out there in the public eye is your personal brand, and you want that to be as succinct as you possibly can get it. So my advice, be patient and get an effective, trusting editor. Well, one thing, I brought my other books here only to let you know that the reason I changed publishers is because I had to try to cross over and get an audience that was universal. I couldn't just publish for the black community. I wanted to publish for people who were interested in reading my book. Now, what happened was, as I put my personal picture on my book, a lot of times my sales wasn't as great. My sales wasn't as great as it was when I had it republished and put more of a generic cover on the book. And so that was a learning for me. I think the cover of a book is very important. It deals with the audience. It determines whether the audience will buy the book or not, just based on the cover and the title. And that's the hook. The hook is really the cover and the title, and people will buy it. I've sold more of the book since I had it rewritten than I did prior. So I just wanted the audience to know that. Make sure that you get the kind of cover that will draw attention and have a subject matter that will draw attention to make people want to buy and read your work.